Welcome to my paint along video of this red barn. This is a fun little watercolor sketch to give you an intro to the wonders of watercolor. So first of all, I'm just laying in some of that grass in the foreground of this little red barn. And this kind of brings the barn forward. You're laying in warm colors that the grass is a very warm color with that yellow ochre, and then drop in a little bit of that sap green and let that just flow into the yellow ochre. You're doing that all while it's pretty wet. Now, next I like to get the background, and you want to keep that pretty cool. Those cool colors. You got some green in there, but there's blue mixed in, and blue makes everything go far away because it's a cool color. And so now I'm dropping in that cerulean blue. Cerulean blue, I love to start with cerulean blue just to get the shadow, that shadow color, and then other colors will go over the cerulean blue, but it mixes very well. Cerulean is just one of my favorite colors. I actually use cerulean in my portraits for the shadows. So more of the cerulean on the rooftop of this red barn. And then I'm dropping in burnt sienna and mixing burnt sienna with a little bit of the red, and just letting that kind of flow together. This, remember, is the first layer, so there's lots of water with your color. Very translucent to begin with. The thing that's fun about watercolor is you just layer and layer. You don't go dark to begin with. And so here's more of that blue right up against that red. Lots of colors that you're mixing together. You look at that and say, that's a red barn, but it's actually red with a lot of different colors mixed in. And that's going to give it more depth, the more colors, and the more colors you mix together and let that flow together. So that's more of an orangey color that I'm dropping in with that red color. It kind of makes that pop forward. The subject matter is this red barn, so we want the barn to pop. So I'm mixing those more red colors with the dark red to make that pop a little bit. And then as that dries, it's not as bright as it dries. And you'll go over that again to give it some more depth. Now here I have filled in that inside of that barn door is very, very dark. So I just started with a dark color. I've mixed ultramarine blue with that red. It's a good dark color to begin with. But as it dries, it will get lighter. So that's okay. You just go back over that and make it even darker. So now while that's drying, I'm going to go back over to the roof and pay attention to leaving some white holes. When I mean white holes, I just mean don't fill the whole thing in. Just add a little bit of the blue over that, but leave some white. So going back into that barn door, okay, now we got the background of not the background. The sky is really part of the whole composition. And so I like to say with the sky, less is more. I'm just dropping in some cerulean blue, some ultramarine blue, and just going kind of around the clouds, but not too much detail. Now coming back in a little, what we call glazing. I'm just going to add more color on top of what is dried and just get a little bit more detail. But still, I'm not using a lot of paint. It's not the pigment so much as it is the water and the pigment. But you don't want to use too much pigment, because what happens is it turns kind of chalky. The color turns kind of chalky. You don't want that. So as it dries, it's important for it to dry before you go back in and go into the detail. Just make sure that's dry. And when you go over that, then it just, there's more detail to it and darker. You just want it darker. You want to pay attention to the lights and darks, what you're leaving. You're not going to come back over and make it white. You're going to leave the white. So I'm going around those white areas, not filling those in. There's that little fence that goes right up against there, just in the inside of that. So I'm just going right around that, not fussing with it too much. I don't get a ruler out or anything. I just paint around it. There's some shadows underneath that, the roof right there. Getting in those shadows. The shadows are really what make this pop. So anytime I go from a reference photo, or if I'm sitting out there painting in the plein air, meaning painting outside, I am looking for shadows. I don't want it to be flat. I want the sun to be giving it a real direction. And so you see those shadows underneath the roof line. And that's what gives it a lot of depth, is those shadows. If I don't have shadows in my paintings, I'm probably going to avoid it or make them up. There's nothing wrong with making them up, just as long as you get a good consistent light source. You know where that light source is coming from. So I hope you enjoyed this little Red Barn sketch.